Hi, everybody. So this is our first lesson in Algebra 2. This is our 0.1a lesson that has a worksheet for your assignment here. The learning target today is I can find the slope of a line. And here's our entry task. Can you match each line to a descriptor? So I've got A, B, C, D here. And if you could just write A, B, C, D in any order that you think matches, go ahead and put that over here. While you're working on that, I'm just going to kind of talk you through how we're going to do this. This is my first lesson video for this year. So up in the corner here, you're always going to have the daily assignment, what you are responsible for completing. We're going to have a learning target, and I want to talk about today's learning target. I can find the slope of a line. Being able to calculate or find slope is one of those skills that is going to be popping up all year long. So this is definitely going to be a review assignment for you. But at the same time, I want you to take it really seriously because the faster you can master this skill, and by master, I mean is you can consistently do this skill correctly, the easier the rest of the year will be for you. So I want you to take your time with this, make sure you're doing it right. We're going to spend a few days on this because there's a few different ways to calculate slope, but just kind of want to emphasize the importance of this lesson. Okay, so let's go through these. So you want to look at your lines left to right, just like you read a sentence. So going left to right, this arrow is going upward. And so this is a positive slope. So this should have an A here. When it's a flat line like this, that's a zero slope. That's going to be B. The opposite of that is a completely vertical line. That is an undefined slope. So you should have a C here. And then again, going left to right, this line is pointing downward. So that's a negative slope right there. Okay, so let's just talk about the notes. I'm not going to rewrite all the notes. I'm just going to talk you through them. So slope describes the slant of a line. So if we think about any sort of line, pretending this pen is just a line, it can just turn in any direction I want. But we kind of break it down into groups. So if the line is perfectly horizontal, we call that a zero slope. If the line is perfectly vertical, it's an undefined slope. But we also describe if it's increasing or if it's decreasing. So when it's increasing, we say it's a positive slope. And when it's decreasing, we say it's a negative slope. So here are the four types of slopes, and I just have little sketches for them here. On your homework assignment, I am going to have you sketch each of your lines, and they just need to be super simple like this. They don't have to be technical in any way. I'll go ahead and give you a minute to go ahead and sketch those out. Feel free to pause the video at any point if you need more time to write. So let's look at example 1 here. So when I look at this line right here, it's nearly flat, right? It's a very flat line. And one of the things that will indicate that is the rise is much shorter than the run. So when we write our slopes, we always write rise over run. You probably remember that. So to get from one point to the next point, I have to go up one. So that's where this one comes from. And I have to go to the right 10 spaces. So that's where the 10 comes from, right? Now here's a line that's a little bit steeper. So to go from left to right, from this point to this point, I have to go down 3. So this time I've gave it a negative sign. And I have to go right 4. So my run is positive 4. So again, my rise is negative 3 because I didn't really rise. I dropped or I fell. And then my run, I'm still going to the right. So that's going to be positive. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how you write your answers. So we describe slope using a fraction, and the fractions rise over run, like I just mentioned. And your rise can either go up or it can go down. When we're going up, we use a positive number. When we go down, we use a negative number. The run can go left or right. And when we go left, we use a negative number. When we go right, we use a positive number. Sometimes I like to draw this little graphic. I always have lots of different colored pens with me, so it's nice to color code things. You could just do this in pencil also. So I use green and red for positive, negative. So these are both negative directions, and these are both positive directions. Okay, up and right are positive, down and left are negative. So here's another example, example 1. So we've got this line here. It is a negative slope. I can see that right away. It's going down from left to right. So I need to figure out how to describe the slope using rise and run. So when I look at this, I've got a point here, I've got a point here. So I could count down 1, 2, 3, and right 1, 2, 3. So my slope is -3/3. I had to go down and then I had to go right. But then I want to reduce all of my answers as much as possible. So if I divide each of these numbers by 3, I can reduce that to -1/1. That can also reduce slightly more, and we could just turn it into a -1. Now, actually, I'm going to leave it at that. But I want to go back to this right here. So when I reduce -3/3, it reduces to -1/1. And if you can see, I have these little red points in here because even though I chose these 2 points that are kind of far away, if I just count down 1/1, I still follow my line. And look at how many times I do it. 1, 2, 3 times. And that corresponds perfectly with dividing by 3 right here. That's why I was able to divide by 3, because it actually takes 3 moves to get from here to here. So if you want to avoid having to reduce your slopes, what you could do is just pick 2 points that are really close together, and you shouldn't have to reduce. Okay, here's an example of zero slope. So a zero slope does not have a rise. I don't go up at all going from this point to this point. I just have to slide across. So my rise is 0, but I do have to slide across 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So my run is 4. Well, 0 divided by 4 is 0. So that's just a 0 slope. And actually, I'm going to get a calculator out and demonstrate something to you. So if I type in my calculator, 0 divided by 4, I will get 0 as an answer, right? But I want to compare that to what happens on example 3. On example 3, I do have a rise, but I don't have a run. I don't go side to side. So my rise is 2, my run is 0. But if I try typing 2 divided by 0 in my calculator, I get yelled at by my calculator. You can't divide by 0. So that is my indication that this is an undefined slope. So if I try to divide by 0, my calculator gets mad. That's the undefined one. If I get a nice easy 0 for my answer, that's just the 0 slope. All right. Okay, so this is our first little intro to slope. Like I said, we are going to be spending a few days on this because there's other ways to calculate it. So please let me know if you're having any trouble. I would love to help you, and come back for more videos. Thanks.